We're very lucky here to experience the 4 seasons of spring, summer, autumn and winter. For the last 20 years, we lived in a place that didn't really truly show the signs of the changing of the seasons. So right now, the Earth is halfway around its orbit of the Sun, which in Australia means that we're heading into winter. The days are getting shorter once more, and we've even noticed after 2 years of living here that our sun is setting in a different place than it normally does. And it is getting very cold very quickly. It got down to -6 degrees not far from here in the last couple of weeks. Our neighbours have just shorn their sheep. And it's getting so cold here at the moment that I'm going to be making old school oxtail stew for dinner tonight, but I'm going to make some banana cake and also some sweet chili sauce first. They're coming down to say hello to us. They probably think we've got some food for them. I reckon they look a bit cold. And just like the sheep have all lost their wool, in about a month or so, the beautiful coloured leaves will dislodge from their stems and float earthwards, leaving the skeletal trees to shiver through the winter. So it's time to go back to our off-grid shed and cook up some warm, hearty meals and warm the chilled fingers with a hot cup of tea and spend some time in front of the beautiful fireplace. Paul and Eli went to a lot of trouble to make me this mascarpone cheese, pancakes and berry. That was for breakfast on Mother's Day. And this old banana cake recipe is one that I've never gone wrong with. So for Mother's Day they also got me a big olive tree to plant. So hopefully we'll get that in the ground over the next few months as well. So I'll put the banana cake into the old barbecue to bake. That's what I do all my baking in down here. And it's a really old barbecue, but it was given to us by Paul's mum and stepdad, and it's really served us well. I'll bake it at about 180 for about 50 minutes. So after it's finished baking, you stand it for about 5 minutes before turning it top side up onto a wire rack to cool. I tipped mine upside down, and this recipe turns out perfect every time. And I'm just going to quickly whip up some sweet chili sauce now. So if you're new to our channel, my name is Tina, and about almost 2 years ago, our family bought 140 acres off the grid in Australia, and we call it Chimney Creek Farm. So I ran out of time to make the oxtail stew that night, but I made it the next day. So oxtail stew is something that we don't have very often, maybe once or twice a year, but it's like a delicacy in our family. Different versions of oxtail stew are made all over the world, so it would be different depending on what country you're from. This is more like the English or the British version. And there's lots of argument about where this recipe originated from, but interestingly, it was usually the people that had no money that used the oxtail to make stew or soup, and basically it was the parts of the meat that were thrown away or given to slaves, and they knew how to cook it to make it delicious. And one of the reasons why I like to make it so much is because it really uses up every part of the animal that has died for us to eat meat. Fancy chefs all over the world are using oxtail now, but it needs to be cooked low and slow for best results. I find that the longer you cook it for, the more tender the meat becomes, so at least 3 hours and up to 6 hours is great. It works really well in slow cookers and pressure cookers. And so apparently there's a Chinese version, an Indonesian version, a Korean version. There's all sorts of different versions of this oxtail soup or stew. I'll have to give one of the other versions a try next time. So we've got a whole lot of updates to provide you on our progress with our outhouse. We've managed to frame up some of the walls, and we've got a new toilet now, which is pretty exciting, so I can't wait to show you that in the next couple of videos coming up. Our life out here has become a bit of an odyssey as we search for some sort of significant purpose and meaning beyond our everyday routines and materialism. So I'm just placing my carrot, my celery and shallots with a little bit of oil into a large oven-proof casserole pan or pot over a medium-low heat, and just stir frying that basically until it softens a little bit. So I've also added rosemary, thyme and bay leaves. So I'll cook this for around 20 minutes or until it's soft and sweet, stirring it frequently. So even though oxtail may not be that pretty to look at, its taste is worth seeing past its knobbly appearance. So I've just added the oxtail that's been roasting back in there, and some garlic and some tomato, and also some flour to thicken it up a bit. I actually use tapioca, but you can also add some red wine at this point and some stock. And then basically cook it slowly for as long as you can after you've brought it to a boil. I've mashed some potato and some sweet potato that's white together to go with this oxtail stew. And I also just mixed up some icing for our banana cake for dessert. It was so delicious. And this is what it looks like on the inside of our shed at night when the lights are out. Thanks for joining us on our journey. I really do appreciate having you join us on our journey, and chat to you next time.